Hi, and welcome to another episode of The Practical Guide to a Positive Full Life. With me, your host, your go to friend. Today, we're going to be talking about how to deal with emotions. Now, this isn't the only way to deal with emotions, but this is a way that I've found works really well for me and other people who I've coached, and just people I've talked to all over the world seem to really take to this. Now, again, I suggest you try this method, and after seeing how it works, adjusting it to whatever you think is best for you. Again, this is a guide. This is about helping you find a way, but in the end, everybody is unique. Everyone's different, so it's going to manifest itself a little differently for everybody. It's two parts. This is going to be talking about negative emotions, and I think a lot of times we say we shouldn't deal with emotion, hide it away. I think it's pretty clear now, at least to me, that that's not healthy. It's not good. I think what we don't like is the reaction, and I think it's a good habit to not react when you have a negative emotion. But it's also very important to acknowledge that emotion. And once you acknowledge, I feel angry, I feel unhappy, whatever it is that you're having a reaction to, then you can start processing it and asking why. Sometimes, though, the emotion is so strong that you're not in a point to ask why. Sometimes when you're talking to someone, you have to, and that will manifest itself when you're talking to someone as, I need to step away from this conversation and I need to process this because right now, no matter how much facts, no matter what we talk about, I'm not going to react well to you. And so that means stepping back and being like, why was I angry? Why did I have such a strong emotion? And just keep asking why. I know it sounds tedious, but you'll have to keep asking why. I was angry with so and so when they said that because of this, because they're insensitive, because they were rude. And well, why did I feel they were being rude? Because they just took it for granted, blah, blah, blah. Well, why did I feel like they took it for granted? Because, I put a lot of work and they're not really reciprocating that energy that I put in, to me when they're addressing me about it. But why is that important? I feel with hard work I should get the same amount of recognition. Oh, and see, by doing this process, you get at what is good about the negative emotion. That sounds twisted, but there's always a good motivation behind a negative feeling or emotion for that matter. Now, once you get there and you can process it, and sometimes you need just time, you need just a day, you need to sleep on it, but don't let it go. Write it down and come back to it because if you just let it go, it's going to come back worse next time. And so, when you process, maybe you need to run, maybe you need to, scream, maybe you need to, if you can't scream in a pillow, or you need to hit a punching bag or do whatever you need to do because everybody's different. Just feel it doesn't have complete control over you anymore. And once you get there, then you can start processing, asking why, and asking where the positive motivation is, and you can learn, something about yourself. Once you get to that point, and you understand, okay, I felt bad. This is why I felt bad. This is the underlying positive reason why I'm feeling bad. Then you can find and use that positive reason to find a solution to it. And sometimes there's no solution. Maybe it's an exceptional problem, someone cuts you off, you're never going to see them again. That's okay. But you can then think about the next time because someone's probably going to cut you off again and how you can think about things differently and not, potentially endanger yourself and others' lives when you're driving out of road rage. Now, it seems very simple, but this is very, very difficult, and I don't want to I guess, not stress it enough that this is not something you can just do and then done with. It's going to be something that you have to work at and you have to stop yourself. And when you're feeling it, you have to just stop yourself and go through these steps. And that's going to be something you have to work at. The second part is emotions in general. I think a lot of times we only focus on the negative and we want to have this blissful happiness all the time. And I think it's just unrealistic. But on the flip side, I want to highlight that we don't feel the positive enough, and it's taken me a long time in my life to figure this out. But when you feel angry, you want to scream. Shouldn't we feel so happy we want to cry, or we want to manifest itself some way physically where we want to scream or run, or just we're so happy we're just drunk on it, right? And I think we do. We just don't allow it to manifest itself, and we should. And it's amazing when you can not just see the little things in life that make you happy, but if you can just completely, you know, engulf yourself in that emotion, it is something incredible. And you realize the amazing aspects of life, and that can give you motivation. And overall, it's just amazing. So don't forget about the positive emotions. And they work the same way. You acknowledge them, you understand them, and then you can try to get them to happen more often, right? If you want to be happy, shouldn't you understand the way or what makes you happy? And the only way you're going to do that is by understanding what makes you happy, feeling it completely, because then it's going to motivate you to want to do it again, right? Some, overall things, just to, afterwards, to function if you're going to have a conversation with someone, or if you're going to have to continue working or whatever it is, which is many times a fact, is once you let that go, you'll be able to have a conversation, and you won't. I have never seen anyone have a good conversation with someone when they're feeling emotional. It just clouds their mind, whether you're super happy or you're really, really upset. And so once you do this process, you're going to feel better. You're going to be able to have a better conversation about it. And some people more than others, but just keep that in mind. And once you do that, try to stick to the facts. I know it's very difficult, but once you deal with an emotion, you'll find it's easier to stick to the facts. You'll find it easier to come to a resolution. And if you are trying to have a conversation about a problem that is heated, then I ask you to look to the video about having a conversation about a problem. It can be very helpful. Um, and uh, and just remember that sometimes something's so toxic, a problem is so bad, that after giving it whatever you find is a fair attempt to fix it, then you have to let it go. For me, it's 2 times, and I have to isolate myself from that person because they're hurting me, or I have to look for an alternative because it's not good. Um, but just remember, this guide is about being full, right? And the way you do that is focusing on the positive. But you don't ignore the negative, and you focus on the now, but you don't ignore the past, and you don't ignore the future. And we'll talk about other things, but just keep those in mind. But ultimately, this is a guide, so figure out what is best for you. It's something very simple, something very easy, these emotions, but I think a lot of times it just really makes it difficult to go in the right direction in life, where we want to be, when we're calm and reflecting about it. But we're social beings. We can't. I worked, in retail before, and they tell you, smile, ignore, the anger, and over years I realized you can't do that. We're human beings. We are social, and we have emotions. You need to find a healthier way of dealing with it, because if you don't, it's just gonna get worse and worse. So just keep that in mind. I think it's very important for mental health, and that no matter what emotion it is, you don't need validation for it. You feeling that emotion is right for you, and is completely valid for you. You don't need someone else to validate. You don't need a reason for it. If you feel sad, if you feel unhappy, if you feel happy, you don't need a reason, right? You can just feel happy, right? There most likely is a reason, but in that moment in time, you should never say, oh, I shouldn't feel happy, I shouldn't feel sad. That's just what you feel, and that's normal, and that's completely valid. So just, remember that. So you don't feel bad about having XY emotion. You shouldn't. You should never feel bad about having emotion. And no, whether you're, whatever situation, whatever you're feeling is completely valid. Um, That's it. If you enjoyed the video, please follow us on social media. We're on most social media. It's Cultum Vita. It means cultivating a life. And if you think this helped you, or you think it could help somebody, please forward it along. The point I'm making these videos is because I see everyone I talk to all over the world that we need more of this. We need more guidance, and we need it to be free, and we need it to be given in the right way. And that's all I'm trying to do. So if you think it'll help someone, please forward it along. And that's it.